He's a Netflix producer, along with his hate-addled wife, Jen. He's producing more racial division. The latest is called Leave the World Behind, a fictional thriller about the collapse of technology and what humans would do with no phones or computers. The movie follows a family on vacation at a rental house, and one night they're visited by a father and a daughter who show up seeking shelter. Their phones no longer work and they need a place to stay. So immediately the white family, because they're evil, that's in DNA of course, is suspicious of the visitors because they're black. And it goes on and on and on like this. Here's a clip.
There's nothing for you to remember. If the world falls apart, trust should not be doled out easily to anyone, especially white people.
Can't trust white people. They're evil. This is the guy, remember, who became famous at the Democratic Convention in 2004 by telling us there's no white America, there's no black man, it's just one man. Of course, that's not really a profit model in politics, is it? So he's been stoking racism since, and the disarray around us is the result.
Reports claim that senior Obama administration officials orchestrated the Russia collusion hoax, stating, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. And he called the allegations outrageous and ridiculous, a weak attempt of distraction. He said, nothing in the document issues last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election but did not successfully manipulate any votes.
Barack Obama built his reputation on great speeches and perfect events. But Tucker Carlson and Patrick Bet-David break through the fake story like a big hammer. Through a cardboard house, with sharp jokes and solid proof, they show the pretty. Outside was hiding a presidency full of mixed messages, helping big companies and media love. This isn't just making fun of someone, it's completely destroying the story America was told. No charm, no filters, just harsh truths that leave nothing left standing.
So Barack Obama smokes crack and then you perform real sexy.
And like I said, the only reason I had come out about it is I had reached out to the campaign even in 2007, only because I saw all these kids getting excited about it.
Okay, wait, so how did that end? Like,
same way.
Yeah.
Get off, you finish smoking.
Talking about Obama saying every man needs a gay friend. So Obama goes
Barack, call me, buddy. Call
on his wife's podcast, okay? And they're sitting there having this conversation, and it covered a lot of different things. Right off the bat, they talked about the divorce. Hey, aren't we supposed to be getting a divorce and all this stuff? Tell me if this seems like they woke up together in the same bed.
If you like this video, please make sure to follow the channel and hit the bell button. If being fake had a speaker, it would be Barack Obama walking out of $1 million speech about rich and poor people being unfair while wearing an expensive suit paid for by Wall Street money. The man who once made crowds excited with a promise of hope became the perfect example of being cozy with big companies while pretending to be charming. And Tucker Carlson and Patrick Bet-David have been getting their sharp words ready for this exact show.
Did you see the video of Biden at the debate in 2007 announcing that Barack Obama had an AIDS test?
I know Barack got tested for AIDS.
Remind me, funniest video ever. Biden said, well, I think, AIDS is it's a real problem in the African-American community.
And the community's engaged in denial.
And I still get AIDS tests. Barack Obama had an AIDS test.
I know Barack got tested for AIDS.
There's a cutaway of Obama being like, I hate you.
It's an important thing.
Biden's like, which is totally good.
Tucker doesn't even have to lean back in his chair much to raise one eyebrow and ask the clear question. How does a guy who taught Americans about climate change fly around the world in private jets? Like their taxi rides, this is the man who said the oceans would get higher and then bought beach houses. Like the sea god gave him a special deal.
Cy Hirsch piece. Obama colludes with Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries. Sunday morning calls Biden and says, you're done. Kamala's gonna 25th Amendment you, and you gotta step aside.
And who places the call?
Obama.
Obama does.
So Obama calls the sitting president and tells him, you're done. Then tells Kamala Harris, you're not me, but if you don't gain traction, if you're not popular, we're gonna take you. It's all shocking. It sounds.
Obama's whole political image is like fancy talk covered in empty promises and expensive perfume. He could sell sand in a desert, not because people needed it, but because he made them think it was special and important. Patrick Bet-David just sits back and drinks his logical thoughts. taking apart the made-up story that somehow the man who used more drone attacks and spying became the world's symbol of peace and being honest. That's not being a leader, that's selling things with a Nobel Peace Prize as decoration.
I know it's hard to keep faith when a family member still hasn't found a job after months of trying, or another foreclosure sign's hung on the house down the street, and you're watching TV and all you see are politicians tearing each other down, pundits who treat politics like a sport. I know it can be discouraging, but don't ever let anybody tell you this fight isn't worth it.
Barack Obama became perfect at saying everything while meaning absolutely nothing. He could read directions for a microwave and make it sound deep and meaningful. Meanwhile, Tucker's asking the questions nobody else wants to ask, like how the guy who promised to close Guantanamo Bay left it open with the excitement of a landlord who forgot he had renters.
So Barack Obama, who really is a heartless monster, and I'm glad that's clear to everyone now, described the rape of a child as phony right-wing outrage?
This is what, he's talking about, the parents being up in arms in Virginia and basically claiming it's all cultural war stuff. First of all, I never really cared about the fact that this is transgender. The bigger issue here is that school districts do not have the same priorities.
The Obama years weren't just filled with great speeches. They were stuffed with rules that sounded great and gave okay results wrapped in nice writing. Patrick Bet-David takes that apart with the skill of a doctor and the attitude of someone who's not buying the fancy version of the American dream with extra orders of drone attacks and a slow economy. Let's talk about what he left behind. Obama supporters praise him like he was the follow-up to Lincoln, when really he was more like the Hollywood remake of Good Ideas, Great Preview, disappointing movie. He talked about hope like it was something you could buy and sell, and every speech felt like trying to sell you a future that somehow never came. Tucker Carlson points out the clear contradiction in a man who said he was for regular people, while hanging out with Silicon Valley billionaires and Netflix bosses. And who could forget the healthcare mess, the plan that was supposed to fix everything but somehow managed to confuse everyone, cost more, and still left people looking up sickness online while hoping their doctor payment wouldn't make them broke.
So Barack Obama, I was there. I knew Obama. He ran against all this. Yeah, he did. Right? Iraq was the bad war. Afghanistan was the good war. And he ran a campaign against it. But he ended up throwing into prison the guy who told...
Patrick Bet-David looks at that train crash and politely asks how a law written in secret rooms by insurance lobbyists got sold as amazing and new if it takes 12 steps, 3 apps, and a government worker to understand your health plan. It's not making things better. It's legal confusion in a computer file. The real funny part is how Obama managed to use style instead of real stuff for 8 years and still convince millions that what they lived through was historic. He smiled through a slow economy, waved through foreign policy failures, and danced around being responsible like he was allergic to it. Tucker Carlson doesn't need to yell. He just calmly reminds people that behind the charm was a record written in sneaky tricks, unclear promises, and drone wreckage. Patrick Bet-David pulls back the curtain with business owner clearness. Wow, everyone else was amazed by the show. He followed the money. Obama was the favorite child of news coverage. The president who could do no wrong while doing plenty of nothing. The bad things were there, but they were wrapped in a PR bubble thick enough to stop people from looking closely. Fast and Furious, IRS targeting, spying on reporters, barely noticed, but he wore that tan suit, and suddenly that was the week's big news. It wasn't being responsible. It was pretty distracting.
Agree with a lot of stuff with Obama. And he was a big contributor to dividing the country in many different ways. But I think he's a guy that's probably, in his circles, probably a good guy. In his circle. Like, think about if he's in his own community. And he's probably gone through a lot of shit as well.
Tucker Carlson, with his normal straight face, breaks it down. A president who promised to be open and gave us spying. Who supported whistleblowers until they actually told secrets. Who said he would end wars while quietly allowing more military actions than the president before him. The two-sided behavior wasn't deep thinking. It was fake performance art played to a media audience that clapped for every pause and ignored every contradiction.
Biden's like, which is totally good. And I think he's negative, but I mean, all men should get an answer.
There's no shame in being tested for AIDS.
I'm so mad.
I just got to make clear, I got tested with Michelle.
Everybody in Democratic politics, they all think that Obama is on the down low.
There's actual evidence for this. I mean, because in David Garrow's biography he wrote about, he got the letters where Obama was admitting his gay fantasies to a girl that he was.
And in walks Patrick Bet-David again, calmly showing the money reality of America after Obama. Pay stayed the same, small businesses had trouble, and Wall Street made money like Vegas lottery winners. The fake idea of getting better hit a growing divide, one that Obama talked about with passion while helping it happen through the system. He got a peace prize, then used more drone strikes. He said interventions were bad, then allowed more than a dozen. He promised to talk things out, then gave weapons to rebels with all the subtlety of a gun seller at a going out of business sale. Tucker's breakdown is harsh, because when you spend years painting yourself as the good adult in the room, being shown as the guy holding the drone controller kind of ruins the look. Then there's the race card. Obama didn't just use it, he covered it in plastic, put it in a frame, and hung it in the White House like a shield against criticism. Patrick Bet-David isn't playing games. He calls it for what it was. A smart trick to quiet disagreement and gather cultural power without giving real results to the communities that needed real rules, not symbolic photo opportunities. He promised the most open government in history, and ran one of the most heavily secretive. He called for unity while supporting division through silence and choosing when to be upset. His campaign was built on yes, we can, but his presidency often felt more like no. You won't unless it's pre-approved by Goldman Sachs. It's the plan. And Obama followed it perfectly, walking out of the White House into a mansion with book deals and brand value like a Kardashian, with a law degree.
Bush leaves after 2 terms. Obama gets elected. Yes. He's very much the peace candidate. He's for transparency.
Well, I like to say that it was Saint Obama that came down from the heavens into the White House.
Black Jesus returns.
That's right.
And but he's very much I mean, I remember being on television saying, you know, he was this wild-eyed peacenik lefty guy.
Oh no, he wasn't.
Oh.
Patrick Bet-David watches the left treat Obama like a god while quietly pointing to the proof. Not just the rules, but what happened after, the failed red lines, the Middle East mistakes, the mass deportations, and the destruction of American manufacturing disguised as globalism. These weren't small notes, they were the main point. And the most ironic part is that Barack Obama made the path for Donald Trump. Not because they're opposites, but because they're two sides of the same coin. One sold hope in pretty language, the other sold fear in big letters, but both made money. One had the media on his side, the other had Twitter. It needs truth, and the truth is, for all the stories wrapped around Obama's presidency, the results were not very good at best and terrible at worst. The left got a symbol, the donors got their money back, and the public got 8 years of world medicine wrapped in government paperwork.
Reports claim that senior Obama administration officials orchestrated the Russia collusion hoax, stating, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. And he called the allegations outrageous and ridiculous, a weak attempt of distraction. He said, nothing in the document issues last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 election but did not successfully manipulate any votes.
Tucker peels away the wrapping and shows the product for what it really is. A government that talked revolution and gave regulation that promised change and settled for deals that inspired millions while delivering millions of dollars in big company interests. Obama didn't change the game, he changed the lighting. He made people feel like something big was happening, while the same rules spun in the background on automatic. He wasn't the system's savior, he was its most charming salesman. And now with every documentary, every speech, and every smug political comment from the sidelines, he reminds us that he hasn't retired. He's changed his brand, and we're just getting started. He left office with a smile, a Spotify playlist, and a Netflix deal that made more headlines than any leftover Middle East problems. Because when you trade drone strikes for documentaries, people forget the real story. He had authority, and while avoiding every meaningful fight, he became perfect at the brand of being moral. And Tucker Carlson doesn't even have to raise his voice to show how empty it all is. He just points to the Golden parachute because nothing says man of the people like giving money advice. From your $12 million Martha's Vineyard house.
With Barack Obama, and I'm sorry to be cynical, but I spent all 8 years of his presidency in the United States watching carefully. Why would he tweet out like it's a great thing that it's going to take days to find out who the new president is? Election workers are heroes. Respect them, thank them. Don't share things before checking your sources. I'm trying not to use the F word on YouTube, but how dare you, Barack Obama, you liar, lecture me about accuracy, and then let the process run its course. It takes time to count every ballot. Well, not India. It doesn't.
Oh, this came out today, though.
Yes.
So I think it's clear why this.
Patrick Bet-David cuts through the fake story like it owes him money. He's not impressed by the fancy words or the pretending. He sees the man behind the curtain. The one who talks about fairness but plays with power. Who cries about inequality while cashing big company checks. Obama didn't step away from the stage. He built a new one where the spotlight is softer. But the contradictions are just as loud. The story of Obama depends completely on forgetting what he actually did. The deportations, the spying, and the weaponized government offices are all quietly tucked behind a dazzling smile and slow-walking speeches. He didn't drain the swamp. He perfumed it and sold it as a book deal. And yet even now the media holds onto the image. And the American people deserve more than a well-packaged fake story. Wearing expensive suits and dropping wise sayings, they deserve the truth raw and unfiltered. The shine is fading. The mask is slipping. And this takedown, it's far from over.